The glass doors of Crestview Financial slid open, allowing a rush of cool, conditioned air to spill onto the sidewalk. The sharp scent of freshly brewed coffee mixed with the faint polish of leather furniture, creating an atmosphere of quiet efficiency. Nathan Ellis stepped inside, rolling his shoulders beneath his tailored blazer. He wasn't nervous. He had walked into enough boardrooms, signed enough deals, and built enough from the ground up to know he had earned his place in any room. He just needed them to see it. His meeting was set for 11 a.m. sharp. No reason to expect anything but professionalism. The bank's lobby was a careful mix of modern luxury and old-world wealth. Mahogany desks, sleek glass partitions, and gold accents that caught the light just enough to remind you that money lived here. It was a place designed to impress. The receptionist, a woman with a neatly pinned bun and an air of disinterest, glanced up as he approached. Her nameplate read Danielle. "Welcome to Crestview Financial," she said, her voice clipped and automatic. "Do you have an appointment?" "Nathan Ellis," he said, placing his leather portfolio on the counter. "I have a meeting with Claire Whitman at 11. Danielle tapped at her keyboard, glancing at the screen. "You're on the schedule," she said, her voice still neutral. "You can have a seat. She'll be with you soon." Nathan nodded, stepping back toward the seating area. He chose a chair near the floor-to-ceiling windows where sunlight slanted across the polished floors and crisp lines. A group of sharply dressed professionals stood near the phones, chatting about market shifts and investment opportunities. The kind of casual conversation you heard when people were comfortable, when they belonged. His fingers drummed lightly against his briefcase. 10:50 a.m. He was early. He always was. The minutes ticked by. 11:05, 11:15. At first, he let it go. Banks weren't immune to delays. But after 20 minutes, he started watching the flow of people more closely. A man in a gray suit, maybe early 30s, checked in with Danielle. Less than 5 minutes later, a young banker appeared and ushered him past the frosted glass doors leading to the executive offices. Then a woman in a cream-colored blazer arrived. No appointment, from what Nathan could tell. Just a casual, friendly conversation with Danielle before she was also led inside. His name was still uncalled. He checked his watch again. 11:30 a.m., something was off. Nathan's fingers tapped lightly against his briefcase as he watched people come and go. Some entered with the confidence of knowing they belonged. Easy smiles, familiar nods, handshakes exchanged with the staff. Others, like him, sat patiently waiting for their turn. The difference? They were being called. He wasn't. He had been here for 35 minutes. His appointment had been scheduled. He had confirmed it twice. And yet, he was still sitting in the same chair while at least 6 other people had walked in after him and disappeared through the frosted glass doors. Still, he stayed composed. He had dealt with this kind of thing before. Subtle, unspoken barriers. The kind people could easily deny. "Oh, we didn't mean to keep you waiting. It must have been a scheduling mix-up. So sorry about that. You know how busy we get." Excuses wrapped in politeness, he stood, keeping his expression neutral, and walked back to the front desk. Danielle glanced up, the same impassive look on her face. "Excuse me," Nathan said, his tone calm but firm. "Has Claire Whitman been made aware that I'm waiting?" Danielle let out a short breath, like she had been interrupted mid-thought. She tapped at the keyboard in front of her, not even making eye contact. "She knows," she said flatly. "She's just finishing up with another client." He waited for a follow-up, some acknowledgement that she would check again, maybe offer an updated time. But she simply went back to typing. "Do you have an estimate on when she'll be available?" he asked, holding back his frustration. Danielle barely glanced at the screen before offering a shrug. "It shouldn't be much longer." Nathan exhaled slowly, steadying himself. It wasn't just what she said, it was how she said it. No urgency, no real effort to check. Just another brushed-off response meant to pacify him, and then, right in front of him, he watched it happen again. The woman in a navy blue dress walked in, her designer handbag swinging at her side. She was mid-conversation on the phone, her voice carrying a light, easy tone. Danielle's posture changed instantly. Her tone softened. Her lips curved into something that actually resembled a real smile. "Good morning, Mrs. Lancaster," she said, her voice lighter, more polished. The woman gave a polite nod and barely had to pause before a young banker appeared at her side, ushering her toward the back offices, and waiting. No questions. No being told soon. Nathan let out a slow breath. He had been here for almost an hour. She had been here for less than a minute. He turned back to Danielle. "So, do appointments matter here? Or is it just first come, first served?" For the first time, she looked a little uncomfortable. "I told you, sir. She'll be with you soon." There it was again, that word. Soon. A delay without a deadline. A promise without commitment. A word that let people pretend they weren't doing what they were actually doing. Nathan glanced back toward the frosted glass doors. It would be easy to let it go, to sit down, wait another 30 minutes, and pretend this wasn't happening. But this wasn't just about waiting. It was about something else entirely. Nathan returned to his seat, forcing himself to stay calm. He had faced worse. He had built a company from nothing, dealt with condescending investors, been underestimated in rooms full of men who thought they knew better. But this was different. This wasn't about his business plan or numbers on a spreadsheet. This was about being ignored, about being dismissed. As if he weren't even worth an update, he checked his watch. 12:05 p.m. Over an hour. Nathan stood. Not quickly, not aggressively, just decisively. He walked past the front desk, past Danielle's blank expression, and headed straight for the frosted glass doors. "Sir," Danielle started, but he didn't stop. He pushed open the door. Inside, a hallway stretched out in front of him, lined with private offices. Some doors were open, others closed. But one thing was immediately clear. Claire Whitman was not in a meeting. She was sitting at her desk, typing on her laptop. Alone.